In this video, we're going to be looking at multiplying and dividing radical expressions. If you find this video very helpful, like and subscribe. Combining radical products. If the nth root of A and the nth root of B are real numbers, then the nth root of A multiplied by the nth root of B is equal to the combined nth root of A and B. Example, the cube root of 8 times the cube root of 27 is going to give you a combined cube root of 8 times 27. That's going to give you 216, the cube root of 216, and the cube root of 216 is equal to 8. Now, you can also simplify a radical if the radicand has a factor that is perfect nth power, and n is the index of the radical. So, for example, the nth root of x y raised to n is equal to y nth root of x z. Okay, so what you can see in here is that y raised to n is a perfect root of that nth root. That's why it's going to be out of the radical sign. Simplify the following. So here we are given the cube root of 12 times the cube root of 10. So we can actually combine these two radicands together, 12 times 10. And then we're going to get their perfect third powers in here. So we're going to expand 12. 12 can be 2 square multiplied by 3, and then 10 is 2 times 5. Okay, so in here, we can further go and proceed as it's going to give you 2 cube, and we're going to multiply that by the cube root of 3 times 5. So I combine this one, and that's going to give you a perfect cube. Okay, so simplifying further, it's now going to give you the cube root of 2 cube is only 2. So this is going to give you 2, the cube root of 15. So this is your final answer to that. Okay, so next, the square root of 7x y cubed multiplied by the square root of 21x y squared. So let's put everything in order. I'm going to put 7 and 21 together, x and x. It's going to give me x squared, and then y squared here. Here, the y cube can be attained by saying y cube multiplied by y. Okay, so 7, the factors of 21 is 7 times 3. So we're going to follow that, x squared, and then y squared, and then y. Okay, so this is going to give you 7 squared times 3, and then x squared, and then y. Okay, so time to simplify. So this is now going to give you 7 squared is just 7, and then x squared is going to get out, y squared again, y squared twice is going to give you y squared, and what is left is just this one, 3 and y inside the radical sign, so 3y. So with this in mind, this is now your final answer. Let's simplify the following. Okay, the first one is the square root of 15x times the square root of 35x. We can actually put these two together in one radical sign. So that's going to be 15 times 35. X times x is x squared, and let's not forget our radical sign. 15 times 35 is going to give you 525 x squared, radical sign. Now, the factors of 5 to 5 that has a perfect square is actually 25 and 21, okay, and x squared. Okay, so here we can now get the root of this, which is 5. So that's going to be 5, and then this one is going to get out. It's going to give you 5x only. So what is left inside is only 21, the root of 21. So this is your final answer for this first item here. Let's go to the next one. Number 2. 5 times the square root of 7x cubed y times the square root of 28y squared. So the same rule, we're going to just leave the 5 outside, and we're going to combine 7 and 28. Here we have x squared times x. I'm breaking this apart. Then you have y squared and then y. Okay, so this is going to give us 7 times 28 is going to give you 196. Okay, that's going to give you 196 x squared, y squared, and then x and y. Okay, so the square root of 196 is 14. So 5 times, let me just write it this way, 14 squared is the same as 196, x squared, y squared, x, and then y. Okay, so time to simplify. This is going to be 5 multiplied by this one. Is going to get out of the radical sign, and it's going to give you 14. This one and this one will get out, x and y, and what is left inside the radical sign is only x and y. Now, 5 times 14 is going to give you 70xy, the root of xy. So this is your final answer here. Okay, number 3. The cube root of 50y squared times the cube root of 20y. Okay, so let's put this together in the same cube root radical sign. That's going to give you 50 times 20, and then y squared times y is going to give you a perfect cube of y cube. Okay, so that's going to be 50 times 20. It's going to give you 1,000. 1,000 y cube, and let's not forget the index, which is cube. Now the cube root of 1,000 is actually 10 cube y cube, so simplifying it further is going to give you 10y only. Okay, number 4 here. This is a negative cube root of 9x5 y squared times the cube root of 2x squared y5. Okay, so let's put everything in one. Let's not forget the negative. The negative will still be there. So 9 times 2, then x5, then x2, y2, and then y5. Okay, so here we're going to create perfect cubes. Okay, negative. So 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, here on that x5, you can create 1 x cube, and then another x cube, and then x raised to 1. Here, because this is 7, we're going to just add their exponent. We're going to be totaling 7. So we're going to create cube in here also. Perfect cube, y cube, another y cube, that's 6, and 1 raised to 1. Okay, so here we're going to let this out of the cubic sign. So that's going to give you negative x. X and x is going to give you x squared. This one, y times y is going to give you y squared. And then the cube root of 18, x and y. Don't forget this one, x and y are still inside. Okay, so this is going to be our final answer in there. Okay, number 5. The square root of 3 multiplied by the quantity root 12 minus root 21. So first thing we're going to do with this is we're going to distribute this monomial here. So that's going to give you root 3 times 12 minus root 3 times 21. Okay, so 3 times 12 is going to give you 36. This is 3 times 21 is going to give you 63. Now we can square root of 36 is 6, but the 63 can also be written as 9 times 7. Okay, therefore we are going to have 6 minus the root of square root of 9 is 3, then root 7. So the final answer here is 6 minus 3 is going to give you 3 root 7. This is your final answer here. Okay, so we have accomplished everything that we needed to accomplish in this practice. Now let's look at combining radicals, but this time it's going to be in quotients, or it means to say we're going to be dividing radicals. So if n's root of a and the nth root of b are real numbers, and b is not equal to 0, then the nth root of a divided by the nth root of b can be combined, and we can say that the nth root of a over b. Okay, so let's look at some example here. Example in here, you have the root a divided by root 2 is equal to root 8 over 2 is equal to, now 8 over 2, simplify what's inside the radical sign, and that's going to give you 4. Okay, and the square root of 4 is, as we know, is square root of 2. So another thing that I would like you to understand here is rationalizing the denominator. It means that you are rewriting the expression so no radicals appear in the denominator and there are no fractions inside the radical. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this on our next practices. Simplify the following. Okay, let's look at letter A. Okay, the square root of 9y over the square root of 2x. So actually we can actually put this in a very big radical sign like this, 9y all over 2x. Now since we have to rationalize the denominator, we can actually perform that under the radical sign also by multiplying 2x in here over 2x. Okay, let me continue here. So that's now going to give you 18xy over okay, let me not forget that one. And this is going to give you 2 square and then x square plus my radical sign. Okay, 18 is going to be 9 times 2 xy, and this one is just going to be 2x. If we're going to simplify this one, it will just go out of your radical sign. This one will also go out of your radical sign, and that's just going to give you 2x. Okay, let's continue. We're not done yet here because the square root of 9 is 3. So that's going to give you 3, and what is left inside the radical sign is going to be 2xy all over 2x. So this is now your final answer. Okay, letter B. Letter B, let's put to get this one in a very big radical sign. 75 divided by 3. Now what is 75 divided by 3? That's actually gonna give you 25, right? Now 25, what is the square root of 25? The square root of 25 is 5. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, letter C. The square root of 63xy cubed over 7y. Okay, let's see. Let's put this together in a very big square root sign. So that's gonna give you 63 xy cubed all over 7y. Now, what is 63 divided by 7? 63 divided by 7 is going to give you 9. Okay, what about this one? Xy, we're going to leave that in there. So here is going to give you x, and this is going to be simplified as the square root of y squared only. Okay, y squared only. Okay, how did I get that? The rules of your exponent, when you have y3 over y1, that's going to give you y3 minus 1, and it's going to give you y squared. So that's already in there. Okay, let's simplify this one now. The square root of 9 is 3. Sorry, I forgot something in here. Okay, 3, and then this is going to be going out, so it's going to give you y. This is going to remain in there, okay, because it's not a perfect square. So the answer now is 3y root x. This is your final answer here. Okay, so that's how you're going to simplify using quotient properties. Rationalize the denominator of the following expressions. Assume that all variables are positive. Okay, let's look at number 1. So I'm going to rationalize this using the value of our denominator, which is root x. Okay, then we're going to multiply them together and simplify them. So this is going to give you root 5x all over x squared. So we're going to cancel this one. What is left now is going to be just x at the bottom, and this is going to be root of 5x. Okay, so we have rationalized already the denominator. It means to say that we already arrive at its final answer. Okay, number two. Okay, number two, 26 root 26 over root 3. So let's rationalize using the root 3 in here, the denominator. Okay, there you go. So let's continue with the process now. That's gonna give you 26 times 3 all over root 3 square. Okay, 26 times 3 is gonna give you 78. 78, this we cancel this one, the power and the root, that's gonna give you only 3. Okay, so we already rationalized the denominator. It means to say that we have arrived already in our final answer. Okay, let's look at number 3. Here it's a cube root. So what we're going to do in here is to make the denominator a perfect cube. Okay, so we're going to multiply this one with a number that's going to make it a perfect cube. So the only thing that's going to make this a perfect cube is going to be the cube root of 2 square. Okay, and this is going also the cube root of 2 square. Okay, why? Because if you're going to be looking at this one, you're going to be looking at this one, you multiply them together, that's gonna give you, actually here, this is what's happening inside. It's gonna give you 2 times 2 squared. This is 1, so this is going to give you 2 cube, which is now a perfect cube. Okay, so I hope you got that. Now let's proceed. Okay, let's just multiply them. So that's going to give you the cube root numerator. The cube root of 2 square is 4. 4 and then x, and down is going to be 2. Okay, this is going to give you 2 cube. Okay, just like what we have here. So now, because this is now a perfect cube, the denominator is now a perfect cube, then we can just simplify that. And this is just 2. This is now the cube root of 4x. Okay, so we have already rationalized the denominator. It means to say we have arrived at our final answer. Okay, number 4 in here. So let's look at number 4. Okay, let's use the denominator to rationalize it. So 5xy, and then that's gonna be 5xy. Okay, let's proceed with the process now here. So here it's going to give you, on the numerator, you have 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, x4 times x is going to give you x5. Y times y is y squared. Okay, then we divide that by the square root of 5xy and then square. Okay, let's simplify now. So in here, the 35 is going to stay inside the radical sign. X5 can be the same as x square and then raised to 2. It's going to give you x4, then one more x times y squared. Okay, simplifying the denominator, it's going to give you only 5xy. Okay, let's simplify it now further. So this one is going to go out. So that's going to give you x squared, and then the y squared is going to get out. Y only. Okay, that's going to give you root of 35, and the x in there is left inside. Then we're going to divide it by 5xy. Okay, Simplifying this one is going to actually give us this one. Okay, the x squared and x, that's going to give you 1 in here. This is 1. Okay, and then y and y will be cancelled also, common factors. So what is left now in here as our final answer is going to give you x root of 35 x all over 5. So this is our final answer in here. I hope you learned so many things about multiplying and dividing radical expressions in this video. If you find this video very helpful, share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much.